We are going to go, board members, to G on the agenda. And we're going to be looking at G.1. And I will turn it over to Mr. Griffith to walk us through this.
All right, thank you, Madam President. Board members, we're going to be looking at the Ferdine proposal for decision. And I will let you know that on April 9th, 2025, a proposal for decision was issued by an administrative law judge, or ALJ, of the State Office of Administrative Hearings in the matter of contested case of TSBP versus Emily Ferdine. For procedural history, Ms. Ferdine holds pharmacy technician registration 273367. The ALJ in the case found by the preponderance of the evidence that Ms. Ferdine violated the Pharmacy Act and the board's rules due to her being convicted on January 12, 2024 of the felony offense of deadly conduct, firearm, for discharging a firearm at and in the direction of a vehicle, and for being reckless as to whether the vehicle was occupied. The court placed Ms. Ferdine on 4 years of community supervision probation. Board staff has prepared one board order for entry, which is consistent with the ALJ's proposal for decision and recommendation, revoking Ms. Ferdine's technician registration. Staff agrees with the ALJ's recommendation. Please remember that Board Rule 281.60B concerns the board's role in discipline and provides that in these matters the board is not bound by the recommendations of the ALJ, and the determination of the appropriate sanction is reserved for the board itself within the scope of the Pharmacy Act and the Administrative Procedure Act.
All right. Board members, you've heard the case and the evidence. Do we have a motion? So Donnie has made a motion that we accept the revocation. Do we have a second? A second by Rick Tisch. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion does carry. All right, next on our agenda, board members, is E.3. And Daniel Graves is here to give us a review of our annual internal audit report.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for having me and adjusting the schedule a little bit for me. I come to you with a couple different reports that should be in your packet, as well as our status. Our status for the 2025 internal audit plan is that we are almost complete with all of the audits that we had planned. We have finished our internal agency compliance and our enforcement follow-ups. We are in the process of performing follow-ups over the 2024 IT services internal audit. Based on some emails that I've been seeing back and forth the last week, we're almost done with that, actually, is what it looks like. But as far as the reports that we have issued, I'm pleased to bring to you for the internal agency compliance. The scope of that audit included several reporting, legislative and performance measure reporting topics. We completed that one just after our last board meeting on February 14th, and we've issued a strong rating with ratings of strong for both objectives A and objective B in that report. If you have the report and want to look along, you can see those ratings on page 4 of the report. And so I'll just remind you that we have 3 ratings that we issue. We issue strong, satisfactory, and unsatisfactory. So this received the highest rating. There were 2 findings that we had in that report. They both centered around segregation of duties and cross-training of individuals. So what we had identified was a small error and differences in some of the statistics that were reported that really didn't change percentage points of some of the performance measures, but there were some minor inaccuracies. And so we've recommended a second level of review to have some segregation of duties between their preparation and reporting of some of those facts and figures. And then also, secondarily to that, some cross-training. We identified where a large amount of that data is known by just a few individuals and how it's compiled, and then to have some cross-training so that we have institutional knowledge versus personal knowledge of how those things are prepared. But overall, a very strong report. We did a good bit of testing and looked at how the numbers are reported and had no other findings aside from those two minor ones. Both of those were low risk rated. In the enforcement follow-up, so we performed these procedures and issued this report not long ago on April 25th. These were in relation to the one open finding from our fiscal year 2023 enforcement report. So last year we did perform follow-ups there, and all but one of those findings had closed. This year we come back to you again with another strong rating for this one that did close. That finding was a high risk rated finding that as of the end of last year was partially remediated. It is completely remediated now, and that one was centered around the having a secondary review of complaints and investigations that were completed by supervisory personnel, so a manager, supervisor level that had no second review. And so that is now in place, and we tested those, and so we verified that that has been completely remediated. So on our summary sheet, you can see we provided a table where the only two findings that are open currently that are not IT related, because we don't disclose those in public documents for the security reasons. The only two that remain open are the two from this year. So everything has been diligently followed up on by the board staff, and we only have two that remain open, and both of those are low risk. So with that is the, as far as also on the plan, the only other remaining item we have is your annual report. That report, guidance for that report comes out usually the first week of August and is due to be turned into the state auditor's office, the LBB, and the governor's office. It's due November 1st, so we will have it completed well in advance, and likely we'll have a draft of that for you at the next meeting so that you can see what it will include. So with that, I'll open for any questions.
All right, board members, any questions for Mr. Grave? All right. Well, thank you. We appreciate all the hard work that y'all put into this and for the feedback. So
Thank you
for
very
all do.
much.
All right, board members, this will take us to E.2, and we've got PRN and Caroline to take us through those two agenda items. No, you can do, well, I mean, it's up to you. Do you want to go sit with Raquel, or you want to do it from there?
We're so used to being buddies up there together. All right, E.2.1 is staff's chart that you're familiar with. The top is the historical information from the last 3 fiscal years, and the bottom is the cumulative count of those individuals that started as of the start of fiscal year 25. So that's the number of individuals that were in the program, and then the individuals that were added during the first quarter, and then now we're adding individuals that have added to the program during the second quarter of the fiscal year that we're currently in.
Good afternoon, everyone, Madam President, members of the board, and staff. My name is Raquel Leal, and I'm the director for the Professional Recovery Network, here today to present PRN's report to the board, specifically third quarter of the current fiscal year. PRN continues to receive a steady number of referrals regarding potentially impaired pharmacists and pharmacy students. Compliance by current participation is acceptable, and all concerns regarding public safety have been reported to TSBP. PRN has had many exciting program opportunities this past quarter. On February 27th, the Texas Pharmacy Association was out in El Paso, where we spoke with student pharmacists at the University of Texas at El Paso School of Pharmacy. At this presentation, PRN discussed mental health and substance use statistics and shared with students the benefits of a peer assistance monitoring program and the PRN process. On February 28th, PRN staff, as well as Sarah Wynn, PharmD of TPA, spoke to the students at the University of Houston College of Pharmacy. Their presentation, part of the college's Drugs, Alcohol, and Use seminar, included topics such as how addiction stigma creates barriers to recovery and the increased addiction risk factors for healthcare professionals. On March 3rd, PRN spoke to the P1 students at the University of Texas College of Pharmacy to discuss problematic substance use and share mental health and substance abuse statistics for healthcare professionals in the U.S. At this presentation, PRN also talked about the services that PRN provides, resources for healthcare professionals who need mental health and substance abuse support. On April 3rd and 4th, PRN was able to exhibit at the TSHP annual conference, which took place at the Irving Convention Center in Irving, Texas. At the conference, PRN was able to increase visibility and had the opportunity to connect with and educate attendees about the program services and our resources. PRN looks forward to continuing to work with pharmacy schools and other opportunities across the state of Texas to bring awareness to our program. The next section of the report talks about our LBB numbers, which was initially submitted to TSPP on March 10th and covered from September 1, 2024 to February 28th, 2025. LBB numbers include all licensed pharmacists and pharmacy students enrolled in our program. They were listed as 0 volunteer pharmacy students, 2 board-ordered pharmacy students, 16 volunteer pharmacists, and 38 board-ordered pharmacists. The last section of the report discusses our finances for the same period, which can be found on the last page of the report. Any questions?
All right, board members, do you have any questions for Raquel? All right, seeing none, Raquel, thank you as always for all that you and PRN do. And we appreciate all your efforts and for you to always come and report to us. All right, board members, at this point, we have completed our agenda items, and seeing no items left to discuss, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. I got 2 hands very quickly over there. I'm going to say Randy Martin has made the motion to adjourn, and Donnie Lewis has seconded it. All in favor of adjournment? Any opposed? This meeting shows adjourned. Thank you, board members.